What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Martian and Ozzy podcast. This week, we're back to talk about the UFC card going down this weekend, headlined by Sergei Pavlovich versus Curtis Blaydes in the main event. 12 fights back at the UFC Apex. And I'm joined by my co host, as always. What's up, my man?
What's going on? Nice deload week. UFC here for us. Nice of them. Apex event where we have a few fights that typically, maybe would have a higher billing, like the heavyweight fights, right? Usually they give you a crap, two crappy heavyweights. This time you got two guys that maybe could fight for the title somewhat in the future, given the limbo. The belt is in, but yeah, very very busy end of April right now. But let's see what we can make of this card. Some meh matchups. I don't think I have too much action, but still have like 3 4 spots that I like.
Yeah, I mean, pretty sad card. I think Green Gordon, that's fun. Semelsberger Wells. The main event is, like you said, title implication is there. So main event wise is pretty good. The rest of the card, man, pretty weak stuff. But we're coming off of a good event last week, going down in Kansas City. Max Holloway still proving he is the man, and we got a main event right there, Ozzy. We got a main event right for once in a
Yeah, that was
change.
a that fight was not close at all in my opinion. Anyone who says that that won that fight, I mean, I think they should have their head examined. But yeah, I thought that was a clear win from Max. I hope to see him, in the future. He's got so many options, but I do want to see him eventually at 155, fighting some guys. I would even like to see him in that mix with, that like McGregor, Poirier, just with all those guys eventually, maybe. But maybe he's probably like a generation behind just because I think he would need to fill into the weight class more. But a good performance by him. Most disappointing one I thought was that Dustin Jacoby fight. That fight kind of went how I thought it would with this guy Azamat landed some big shots to win the rounds, especially in that second round. But Jacoby, just his whole game plan in that fight was pretty bad. I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I thought he started slow, worked his way back in. He was on his way to winning the second round, then got dropped, and then won round three. I don't know. I mean, he just got a little unlucky there. I think he probably does win that fight 6 out of 10 times still, honestly. Um, but yeah, I mean the main event. I mean, there were only two close rounds, and then three super clear rounds for Max. So yeah, I agree it wasn't close. Our man Bill Alger with a big comeback performance,
That was a
and
good
you
win.
picked that Pedro Munoz fight. Very.
That was a good one. That was
I
a great one.
remember Ozzy said in early in the week he was very confident in Munoz to win, not only cover, not only be a good bet, but to win. So
That
very
I'm
very.
1-1 in my very confidence. I was took a L with Adrian Yanez, but we got it back with Pedro Munoz. So we're 1-1,
That's true.
1-1 on those.
Yep, and that's enough about last week, though. Let's get into these fights. Not a whole lot of bets for me in this one, but I'll still give you guys my thoughts. Starting out in the
You
bantam.
sound so excited, so interested.
Did you? Uh oh.
Can you hear me? What did I cut out there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I heard the Discord noise, but I don't know.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I'm okay. Bantamweight division. Dana Batgerel taking on Brady-Heistand. Odds for this one. Dana is the favorite at minus 145, I believe. I lost the odds here. Yeah, minus 146. Brady-Heistand plus 126. Um, I think the line is about accurate. You got to think that High Stand is going to need takedowns here. He looks pretty bad on the feet to me. And, Dana obviously has power in his hands. So I think, the standing should be pretty one sided for Dana. But we have seen Dana's takedown defense look not so good. We've seen him slow down in round three a few times. He lost round three to Kang, lost round three to Alatang, and Alatang was able to get him down as well. So I mean, I think there's definitely a path for Brady with the takedowns, but I don't know. I think that this one should be Dana. I think I favor him early on pretty decently, and then the only bet I like for this fight is Brady round three at plus 1600. With what I said about there being a pattern of Dana slowing down, I'm down to take a 16-1 stab on high stand. Who should have the better cardio if it gets there? But what are you thinking about this one?
Yeah, so it's two guys that I like. I've been supporters of both of them. What you said about Brady is for sure, true. He does have. I mean, I'm not saying he's ironclad cardio, but The guy does know how to push the pace and, is very comfortable when he is grappling. It's very easy for his cardio there to look a lot better than his opponents, just his grappling cardio. You kind of see that with his Ultimate Fighter fights, the fight even with Ricky, and even that fight against Fernie, where he had to kind of, I think he got a takedown right in that third round. But when he needs to get a takedown, he usually is able to get it. But on the way in, he's kind of not very defensively good. I would say that Dana is better and even throws like similar arcing punches to that last guy, Fernie, but he's just better overall. I think more experienced. So I kind of lean his way, but I could see this guy giving up his back, and Brady, being on his back, being in mount, maybe looking fishing for a submission. So if I like Brady, I think I would try to play some submission line here. At +5, 5 something. I think he's gonna try to jump on a limb or a neck if he can. And usually he's a guy that when he does have grappling success, it doesn't get stalled out in like neutral positions like a guard and stuff like that. He's kind of does is able to find his way into like those riding positions like the back and get to the mount and stuff like that. So should be a good fight, first fight to start off the card. I probably lean Dana, but Brady's for sure live with the submission grappling.
Yeah. I think Brady may possible live bet, if Dana starts strong in round one. But next fight, women's flyweight division, Priscilla Cachoeira, Cachoeira-Silva. The line for this one, Silva minus 193, Cachoeira plus 168. I didn't have much recollection of who Silva was early on in this week. What about you? Just refresh us with your thoughts on her.
No, I confuse Karini, whatever, with what's the other girl? The girl that's spinning back,
Yeah.
Natalie, whatever, one of those. So I confused those, confused my Silvas. But Karini, I did like her UFC debut. I think I had her. You had Polyana or Batella, whatever her name is. This fight has to be a pass for me though, just because I've just not been able to get Priscilla Cachoeira fights, correct. Either I'm on her and she loses, or she robs me a decision, or I'm on what's her name, Lipsky, and then they give me a mulligan when this girl gets her period, and then I still mess it up, or going on goes the distance. So it's just I just can't get the fights of this girl right. So I'm gonna let you help the listeners, help yourself, help anyone that wants to listen. What is the side? Where is the wager in this matchup?
I think I haven't seen enough from Silva to think that she covers his price. I mean, as funny of a fighter Catchware is, guys, she's really tough. She has pretty good cardio. And, she's fought, probably an hour in the UFC cage against a whole range of talent. And she's beaten a lot of like mid to low level girls. So she's just not an easy woman to like cover big prices on because she overperforms her skill. I mean, Ji Kim, I think we'd all agree had potential to cover -200 versus Cachoeira just to be the much crisper striker, but Cachoeira somehow overcomes all that and wins the decision there. So I don't know. I mean, I could see Silva winning in, on the feet or on the ground potentially, but is she really proven enough to lay -200? I mean, you guys know how I feel about women's MMA in general with these juices. But I mean, just look at her wins too. They're all like, round one, heel hook round one, armbar round one, fought a lot of low level women with, 0-0 records.
Heel hooks are the new meta.
Has
I
she ever
I
won a decision? No,
I
never
don't.
won a decision.
Hey, but you can't knock out Cachoeira, but maybe you could heel hook her. So maybe Silva's onto something.
I don't think she's tapping to that, bro. I mean, remember, dude, she was fucking clawing Jillian Robertson's eyes out. That bitch is not gonna tap.
Point.
I mean, she's gonna try to rip her toenail off if she goes for a heel hook. So,
Mm.
yeah, I guess dog or pass.
You learned that from The Sopranos, right? The ripping toenails off.
No, I don't think that was in. I know every scene of that
Oh.
show. I don't think that's
Mm,
in that one. Um,
mm.
Anyways, next fight, featherweight division, Francis Marshall, William Gomis. The odds for this one, Francis is -200. Gomis plus 170. Some people call him the Fire Marshal. Um, I think he'll win this one, fairly easily. Gomis, they brought him in for to fight on the Paris card. He got his job done. They gave him, another bum level opponent, and I mean, he kind of struggled in that fight. I mean, wasn't really an easy win, um, for him against that guy Jarno Aarons. So I just think Marshall seems like a much better prospect. Really good performance in his last fight. I mean, dude, he knocked out Rojo stiff for a 145 or a guy who wasn't really known as a puncher. I mean, he laid Rojo out. So I think Francis won't have too much trouble here. Should probably cover that
Whoa, hold
minus
on. What did you
200.
just say? What did you say before that?
I think Francis should
What was your
probably
last?
cover
No,
here.
what was your last point to support that?
He laid Rojo out. He
Oh
knocked him out.
yes, yes, he did lay him out. Yep.
Oh, I thought I said something
No, no, no,
like
no. I just
silly.
didn't hear you. I just
Oh
wanted you
yeah,
to repeat it. Damn,
yeah, laid him out.
you
Oh
looking
yeah, I remember. I
self-conscious.
bet. I bet the over there. I remember it was like 1 minute before
Idiot.
the over hit. I was,
A
um,
that was a community mush over.
yeah, it was. It
The
completely
p
was.
the fact that people I forgot what people were saying. They were saying something about like, "Oh, yeah, Imma take over Martian. You don't have any more thoughts about that fight." So,
Yes,
I
you're
remember
right.
when Marshall had the last fight against Rojo, they were like, "Oh, Marshall, he didn't even wrestle in college. He only wrestled like 2 years in high school." I was like, "Bro, what are you like Marcelo Rojo would like finish last place against 15-year-olds in New Jersey like wrestling, like high school wrestling." So like I don't really understand. Like I think people don't realize the chasm. Like some of these guys just don't like cannot learn how to grapple. Now when I say that, it wasn't he didn't lose only because of grappling. In that fight, he just lost because he's fucking frail and he can't fight at 145. But this fight here, I think is a good prospect test for Marshall. And the other kid, he's not, too old either, but he's just not aggressive. He doesn't really have a standout skill. I'm talking about Gomis. Doesn't have a standout skill. He's kind of like Muay Thai and stuff like that, but then he looks to grapple, but his grappling is actually not that good. Like his submission grappling and stuff like that. He's fought a lot of guys that he's more athletic than, quicker than, maybe better cardio than them, and then he kind of like stacks up those advantages to use his grappling. But in reality, this guy's not very skilled, doesn't have a submission game. Most of his TKO wins and stuff like that are from guys like tiring out and him being, in better shape than them. And that's not gonna be the case here because we all know that firefighters are the most physically fit people in the service
On
industry. Not
EMC,
what do we call
EMT,
that? What do we call that? Not the service industry. The
EMS,
no
emergency
no no
medical services.
whatever, something like that. In the line of duty. Let's just say in the line of duty.
There,
Okay. So yeah, I think Fire Marshal's gonna beat this guy. It could be close early, but I think at the end of the day he will win. And I kind of like the fight to go the distance though, because I think it could be a slow start. Um, so Fire Marshal by decision. What is
is
that?
he actually a firefighter of any sort?
Yeah, bro, he's a fire bro. Do you even contender series though? Go watch the contender
No,
series,
I
all right?
don't. I skipped through those
You
parts.
fucking yeah. So plus 195 for Fire Marshal by decision. I mean, could be better, obviously, but that would be my pick for the fight. If I thought how the fight's gonna go, I don't think that Gomis is gonna he's kind of like a staller, So even I think if he's losing, this guy takes him down. I don't think he will do that much from the bottom. So I kind of like the over 2.5 and Marshall by decision. I don't think I think that's better for me than playing the over. What do you think? Or
Yeah.
playing Marshall, excuse me. What
No,
do you
I
think about
agree.
that?
You mean
Playing
I don't know.
like the over as opposed to
Yeah,
laying the
but
juice on.
that last part you said there, I don't know. I mean, if anybody's finishing though, it is gonna be Marshall. We saw in that Gomis Aaron's fight. I mean, he had a low level opponent in front of him and still was never
Yeah, but
ever
this
close to
guy, I
him.
mean, he hit that other dude with a lot. I mean, he doesn't look like he has crazy. Even though he knocked out, this is the thing. Like I said, even though he knocked out Rojo, I don't think he has crazy power. I just think
Yeah,
Rojo
me
is a bum.
neither. But
And this guy is kind of tough, dude. Like looks like hardware wise. He doesn't look like a quitter to me. He's just not that good at MMA.
yeah, I kind of think the Marshall money line might be good, even at its juice price, to be honest. So,
Right, but what about
but
the
yeah,
over?
I agree. No, no, I agree there because I rate they have Gomis ITD at 4-1. I think it's even higher than that. So
Yeah, he's
I
not
think that
finishing. This guy
yeah.
sucks.
So maybe like minus 3.5 for Marshall. Um, Next fight, heavyweight fight. A lot of movement on this one. Junior Tafa, Mohammed Usman. The brothers fight here, minus 117 for Tafa, Usman minus 103. I believe it is your turn to start this one
Yeah,
off.
curious fight here. I mean, try to look at some of Tafa's footage. Doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Looks like I don't know. I don't even know how much he weighs because there's never been an official. How much do you think this guy weighs, Martian?
Yeah, I said the same thing. If you told me he fought at middleweight from like the videos I saw of him, I would completely believe it. I mean, he looks like maybe 230 or something. He looks skinny.
This is a weird ass fight, dude. Cause then this guy Usman, he used to be way bigger as well, and then he shows up in his last fight, and he was 236, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but he's
two.
still got some shoulders on him, man.
Yeah, but I just mean
He,
like I don't know how big either of these motherfuckers are gonna be. So I feel like for some people maybe that doesn't matter. For me, it's a little important. But I just like Usman probably here a little bit more. But but when I say this, I do still see how like if Usman is kind of playing hopscotch, playing the in between, like not really looking to commit on punches, and then also not looking to grapple, I could just see obviously Tafa clubbing him. Right, pretty easy to see that. I've seen this story before. We got the big Samoan, Polynesian guy. He starts touching guys and they start getting knocked out. So I've seen this story before. So I'm not gonna get caught in the crossfire. We got, people betting on both sides. It's a heavyweight fight. I'm gonna just watch it. So no bet for me, but I would definitely lean Usman, like for sure. Well, I would not be shocked at all if this guy just stayed outside and got clipped with a few shots and, just went down.
yeah. So he has been slimming down 254 in 2019, then 245 2020, and then most recently 236. So he also, his last win, aging well, Pauga dropping down a weight, beating the legendary Jordan Wright. So yeah, I mean, I agree. Usman seems to me like the side. I mean, look at his competition regionally. I mean, he was fighting in Titan FC, he fought Dontel Mays. I think he's just fought a lot more like legit guys where we can actually like measure him. While uh, none of the guys that Tafa has fought are anything we can really even compare, right? I don't know, man. I just think that I'm always going to be siding with the guy who there's like more footage on, and that will be Usman to me. Even I pick him, a lot of people got plus money on him. That seems like an easy bet. I don't think it's as easy of a bet when you're near pick him, but it seems like Usman to me. Um, Good fight to just pick a side on, though. Next fight, also good side to pick a side on. Women's
What does that mean,
145 fight.
Martian? What does that mean? Good fight to pick a side on. What does that mean?
Like you just got to plant your flag on one. You can't say
Yeah, I
oh
don't
I could
know.
see either
You
guy winning.
so
No,
you that's basically yeah. I mean we both said basically we could see either guy winning though.
plant a flag. No, no, I don't. I think Usman like minus 150 would probably make more sense.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, like he did just knock out a UFC level fighter. Pauga
Right.
looks decent, and he's fought, on tough. He's been in more, tough
The main
circumstances.
point is nobody can say how this fight is gonna
Nobody
go.
knows. Nobody knows. Yeah.
Nobody knows how either of these guys are gonna fight each other. It's like
Yeah.
I don't like trying to like who why if you
This
could
next fight
predict
we could predict.
if you could predict these fights at the closing line, I'm impressed.
The next fight we can predict how it's going to go, and that will be Carol Hosa versus Norma Dumont in a rare women's featherweight fight with Dumont being minus
Ti
116.
Title
Hosa,
implications here.
yeah, I mean, knocking
Winner
on the
you
door.
Marcia, you know this. Winner gets the main event, so that's extra pay bump in pay.
Unless we see a fourth fight between Nunes and Pena, which you
I'm
never
just
know.
saying. Yeah, I mean, they could be a main event of fight night. I don't know, but all I know is winner for sure. They will be in a main event in our lives.
Norma's already been in a main event, remember?
Another one.
Yeah.
Thought it was over.
Was that 5 round? Yeah, it was versus Lad, right? Oh, man. Dark days. Um, anyway, so, Hosa and Dumont here. I'll pick Hosa. I just trust her more. It's a pick 'em fight. You gotta plant your flag. Great fight to pick a side on. And, it's gonna be a decision, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I am a little concerned that our girl Hosa got dropped by Lena Landsberg in her last fight, but, she still, comprehensively won the
Lena looked
majority of that.
yo, low key, Lena looked career best in that fight. Not saying much. That's not saying much. But when I did watch that fight again, I was impressed by Lena Landsberg. So let me give my pick on this fight because it's a great fight to make a pick on, right?
Right.
I can't go, you can't skip over me without me picking as well. And I'm also actually gonna come in on the Carajosa side. Now, this is a close fight, obviously. The line has come down. People have been betting on, Norma. But I mean, the thing is, when Norma is like one, her KO power is overrated in my opinion. Obviously she dropped that chick Danielle Wolf. That Danielle Wolf looks like she could be a Wayne brother from White Chicks, dude. She's a spitting image, dude. She could have been a stunt double in that fucking movie. If they reboot it, call the director, bro. Let him know we got the perfect for him. Anyway, um yeah, so what I would say is that Carol, she's still quick. Being up at 145, I think she'll be fine there. She missed weight a few times at 135, but her last fight, she looked in shape. Both on the scale and in the fight. Norma, I think her biggest advantage at 145 is she's like quick, explosive, right? But I think that'll be nullified a little bit here. Like I said, her KO power I don't think is that great. Wrestling wise, that was a big hole we saw in Carol's game, but I don't think that Norma's particularly, she has some takedowns, but I don't think her control from there is, I do think that Carol Hossa is probably better on the ground. And I think she has a better cardio and the better volume. So I think in a fight, how it breaks out, maybe Carol is going to be able to, stay competitive in the early like 3, 4 minutes and then slowly start getting the better of the exchanges and landing a few extra shots. So I did take some Carol Hossa at like minus like 102 and I think that she should be the favorite, but it's marginal, slim value, very small.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree with all that, but if we can also just look at a really recent fight and point to both of these women having problems because McMahon took Rosa down and kept her down for a long time, and Macy Chiasson took Norma down and
That's
took
a
her down
big
for a long time.
difference. Big
But yeah,
difference
that's
in opponent right there.
bro. You didn't even let me fucking finish. I was gonna say that. Yeah, I was gonna say McMahon is better, bro. I was gonna say it.
McMahon took second place in this thing they call the
So
Olympics,
silver medal. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Back in what was that, 1984 or something?
bro.
For
Sarah McMahon would Kimura the fuck out of you, Martian. She'd
yeah.
break she'd break your arm in half.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Uh,
know. We'll see about that. She would have to get me on the ground first. I would probably have some mean strikes
yeah,
for her
yeah,
on the way in.
exactly. You go
Um,
Mazadon like no no
no,
Yoel Romero.
Barbosa.
Yoel
No, like
Romero.
that shit with Barbosa in the last fight, bro. She catch a knee in the mitt. Uh, anyway, uh, speaking of people desperately trying to get fights to the ground, next fight,
Hey,
bantamweight
hey!
fight. Hani Yahya, one of
Let's
Ozzy's
go.
boys, his day one dogs, taking
Let's
on Montel
go.
Jackson, the guy with the big fucking hands.
Oh man.
Montel Jackson is the huge favorite, biggest favorite on the card, minus 550. Hani Yahya plus 420. 420. It's April 20th
It's Hani's
today as
time,
well.
bro. It's Hani's time.
This is what I'm saying about this fight is this is a winnable fight for Hani Yahya. Like he's plus 400 and he has a legitimate path, bro. We just saw Bays take Montel down, mount him, get side control, take his back. Like we just saw all that. So we know that if Hani gets the fight in his realm, he gets Montel flat on his back. We know that he could probably slice through his guard, mount him, get him
An
in really bad
absolute
spots.
truck on top. This Hani Yahya guy.
Well, what's the accolade, Ozzy? What's the thing you always say about Honey Yaya?
What ADCC? I don't know. He won
No,
ADCC. No, what did I
he's the
say?
best.
Oh, he's the he's
Best
the best
grappler.
best grappler under 155 ever in the UFC. Ever.
Yeah,
Number
that's the
one.
quote.
Number one.
Yeah, and
Easily,
he's
dude. With a
yeah.
bullet. With a bullet.
I think he's top something. Top.
Aljamain is the only guy that has a chance to dethrone this guy.
I'd put Juicy A for Amiga up there
So
too.
Aljamain Sterling would submit Juicy Formiga with his left arm.
I don't know about that, bro. Come
Yes,
on, come on. Don't
100%.
be disrespecting Juicy A. He's still winning fights to this day.
Versus who? Who
But
the fuck did he
Mont
beat?
he fought in
Oh yeah,
LFA,
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
he main
yeah.
evented it against like a Japanese guy or something?
I don't fucking know. Go
Um,
ahead. Go ahead. Tell them what you
but
think.
yeah, I mean Montel, we've always been haters of him. We just bet Julio Arce against him. He actually looked pretty good there. And then but again, looking at the last fight Montel lost, wasn't it Brett not Brett Johns? Yeah, it was Brett Johns. Yeah, who was like not like a crazy uh athlete or grappler. He just took him down over and over again and did it and won the fight. So I mean if Brett Johns could have success doing it, if JP Bays had success doing it, is it really that unfathomable that that our boy Hani Yahya could pull off one more win in his career? I don't think so. So yeah, I mean we're talking 4-1 here, and then there's a legitimate, plausible path for him to get it done. So I think this line is kind of nuts.
Let's go, bro. We're on Ronnie Yahya, the best single grappler under 155 ever there's ever been. This guy, if he gets on top of him, it's gonna be bad, 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 bad.
Does Frank Yeager count? You think, or
No,
is
Frank Yeager don't count, dude. He could count, but he's not as good as Ronnie Yahya. It's just a fact. I'm disappointed that Ronnie didn't get to fight Cody Garbrandt because obviously Cody Garbrandt is harmless. Ronnie Yahya is harmless. So Ronnie Yahya would have submitted him. But I like Ronnie Yahya here in this fight by submission, dude. What's gonna happen here is if Montel's throwing him around, something like that. This dude, Ronnie Yahya, he's like, you know who he reminds me of, bro? He reminds me. You watch Lord of the Rings? Smeagol,
never?
Smeagol. He reminds me of fucking Smeagol. He's just kind of like, yeah, like fucking slithering around and being a little ugly little hobbit. But he's gorilla strong when he grabs onto you. He knows, he has like kind of that. The reason he works so well is because he has a very diverse grappling game. He could do a lot of different things. So you see how like Damian Maya does like that little single leg stuff, all that kind of shit. Ronnie Yahya could do that. But then he could also do like, more traditional stuff or like get to the back or like just hold you in guard or half guard. So he's very diverse. So I like him to win by submission here, potentially. He might get knocked the fuck out. He probably will get knocked the fuck out because he can't take too many shots. Honestly, from Montel. Montel is a different kind of hitter than that guy Kung Ho Kong. So, but I like a little flyer on, Yahya by submission, maybe a little dart on the money line here because this dude knows how he's gonna need to win the fight. You know what I mean? And if he might pack a lunch, he might not pack a lunch. But either way, you're gonna know right away if he packed a lunch or not. So you don't need to stay on your couch that long. It's either gonna he's gonna be in that fight or he's gonna fold the tent really quick. But he's a tough motherfucker. So let's go.
That is true. It will be very evident here.
Dude, Ronnie Yahya has fought a lot of good guys,
You
bro.
could all Oh, man, this is gonna sound really stupid, but you could probably bet Jackson KO and
Don't do
Yahya
it.
money
Don't
line
do it. Don't
and
do it.
profit no matter
But
what,
like,
right?
man, this guy's fought a lot of tough dudes, man. Ricky Simon, Enrique Barzola. This guy Montel makes a lot of. Last fight though, I will say he did not make many mistakes. He was
He beat
efficient.
Barzola in the first 2 rounds,
Yeah,
right?
oh, he hasn't really lost to anybody that bad. Like usually,
Yeah.
it's either he's winning, he's winning until he gets tired. It's like really really close and it's like very competitive. So that's how his fights usually go. This guy, I wish he had
Yeah.
more fights, dude. But his fights are cool. Doesn't die.
Alright, we'll move on to last fight on the prelims, Ricky Glenn taking on Christos Giagos in the lightweight division. Line for this one, Glenn -160, Giagos +140. Your turn to start this one off.
Right here, 145, two older guys, veteran guys. The line's been coming in on Rick Glenn. I'm not really that sure why. I guess I could feel and I could see that, just at this weight class, people feel like, some of these fights should be a little bit closer. This plus money is the way to go. Um, but I just like the fact that like the how different Rick Glenn is from like some of these guys that Yagos has fought, even the higher end guys, right? Like Armin. Who's the other guy he fought other than Armin? Martian? Armin, whatever. So some of these other guys that he fought, they're just not similar, right? Not a southpaw, don't have this are as tenacious, don't throw as much volume, when he gets going as Rick Glenn, aren't as well rounded overall as well. So I just feel that Rick Glenn, he usually always makes the right decisions when he's kind of defending, grappling, when he's like choosing what strike to throw. He's very fundamental. He doesn't do anything too fancy, but he just continues to make the right decision and continues to kind of press on the advantages that he has, and putting volume on people and kind of getting better positions on the ground as well. So I just like his overall game. The lines coming in, so I bet a little bit at -140 and -144 on FanDuel on Rick Glenn. And I feel pretty good about it. So, it could be a good fight. I'll leave a little bit, could be a close fight. I'll leave a little bit for live potentially. But yeah, I like Rick Glenn in the fight.
Yeah, I agree with most of what Ozzy said there. I think that Yagos could have some success early on in this fight. You got to think that Yagos is gonna try to attempt takedowns here, and Glenn can be taken down early. But like Ozzy was saying, just really smart defensive grappler. I just can't imagine Yagos really putting Glenn in like really bad spots. So I just think that any success Yagos has is going to be pretty short lived. And this guy is just an infamous gasser. He consistently slows down in the second half of fights. And yeah, I think it's probably going to continue to happen here. I thought it was hilarious too. If you look at Yagos's recent fights, just the disparity in like some of his recent opponents went from Carlton Minus and Sean Soriano, and then the got knocked out by Sarukian, and then the UFC is like, "Hey, sorry about that loss, bro. How about you fight Thiago Moises next?" And obviously just got easily choked out in that one. So I just think Glenn is a better striker, has the defensive grappling tools to be able to avoid any of the threat from Yagos. And I think if there's anyone finishing the fight, I'm extremely confident that it's going to be Rick Glenn. So I really think the best bet on the entire fight is Glenn, no scorecards. You can find that out there on a few different books, but the best price is on FanDuel at -160. And I just think that there's actually a good chance that Glenn could finish this fight in the second half of the fight, and I just really, really don't see Yagos finishing this fight. So I'll go with that Glenn no scorecards, and I think Glenn money line is pretty good as well. I think he wins this fight, 2 out of 3 times. So that'll move us along to the first fight on the main card, which is a pick'em fight in the welterweight division. Jeremiah Wells, Philadelphia's own, taking on Matthew Semmelsberger. I don't even know where he's from, but former CFFC vet, so got some respect for Semmelsberger. Near pick'em line with Wells slight favorite -114, Semmelsberger -106. So I think this is a really competitive fight, obviously, as the line indicates, and I don't have a side to plant a flag on, so I don't think this is a great fight to pick a side on, to be honest. Man, I just see this one going a lot of different ways, and the first thing we have to say is, Wells could make the fight look pretty easy if he hits takedowns, because we've seen Semmelsberger taken down. We saw AJ Fletcher take him down and mount him for long periods of time. And Wells seems very capable of putting Semmelsberger on the mat and keeping him there. But on the feet, I think the more technical guy is actually Semmelsberger. Both guys hit really hard. And when they're on the feet, there are going to be some heavy exchanges. I could see either guy falling from them. Um, but I really think the second half of the fight favors Semmelsberger. We've seen him go the distance a lot more. We've seen him struggle early in fights and then come back really well, like that AJ Fletcher fight I just mentioned. So I just think we have a lot more proven um, tape of Semmelsberger going late in the fight and him battling back from adversity. So that's why I'm going to side with him. I just think unless it's like a one-way traffic type of fight, I don't see Wells like looking good down the stretch here. So um, first half of the fight favors Wells, second half favors Semmelsberger. Maybe look for some Semmelsberger live. And last thing I'll say is Semmelsberger round two plus 1,000, Semmelsberger round three plus 1,600 are good stabs here. Anything on this one for you?
Man, this is not a kind of fight that I like, to gamble on too much because, like you said, kind of like how both guys like to fight. I don't really see that it kind of um goes into the other guy's weakness too much, other than the fact that, yeah, maybe Semmelsberger rides out the wave that is Jeremiah Wells and then looks to pick at some strikes at him, later on and, up the volume. But also, I've seen Jeremiah Wells at times, like when he's not having a lot of success, he actually kind of like just shuts down a little bit, like doesn't. I don't know if you've seen that in a few of his fights where he just kind of just doesn't engage as much and preserve some of the energy and stuff like that. So we'll see if Semelsberger is able to does feel that, go to being a little bit more assertive striking. But I do like that he's fought, a nice diverse set of people, in his UFC run, and I do think he's getting built up pretty well. So, I've been kind of thinking about Summelsberger's, side, even though I didn't like, what I saw from his grappling in a few instances. And I do like, I do think I do give credit to Jeremiah in terms of, on the ground. So I think I'm gonna just pass in this fight. If the over was a little bit shorter, a little bit less juice, I would play that. But it got bet up, like 2, 3 bets bet it up too much. So I'm gonna just probably pass. But I could, I might revisit this and I might have a play on the side.
Yeah, I kinda feel the same way about this next fight, which is a women's, flyweight fight.
Oh man.
Um,
Don't even ask me what I think about this
Lucindo-Walker.
one.
Yeah, I mean, I just Lucindo's minus
Talk, just go
360,
ahead.
Walker is plus 295. My opinion is that no woman on earth is capable of being a good bet at minus 360 in an MMA fight, and certainly not this fucking random Brazilian woman with one UFC fight. So I don't Walker comprehensively lost to fucking Miller though, who we know now sucks really badly. So I'll go with a value bet on Brogan Walker being the side here. Won't probably be making that wager myself, but I mean, there's only one way to bet the fight. It has to be the underdog here. But anything from you here at all?
I hope these ladies have do fight of the night and win an extra 50K. But let's move on.
Um, Interesting. Yeah, maybe I'll look into that one later in the week, but I highly doubt it. Um, Anyway, enough about that one. Next fight, great fight here. Great matchup between two guys who we both like a lot. Lightweight division, Bobby Green taking on Jared Gordon. The odds for this one, Bobby Green minus 265, Jared Gordon plus 225. So give us your thoughts
And
here. A story.
yeah, I mean, my thoughts on this are contrite. It's not even doesn't have to do anything with the matchup too much. I get one guy who he's never lost a decision, including the Patty Pimlet fight. This decision has gone into like the fourth or the fifth round a few time, right? Championship rounds in CFFC, and he's against a guy proven commodity, obviously, in Bobby Green, a lot of close fights, but all his fights are fucking close. And yeah, he likes throwing a lot of volume because none of these guys look to grapple. None of these guys try to grapple him. And the one guy that did try to grapple him, Islam, is just insta mount, dude, on him when he took him down. And now I respect Bobby Green. I like Bobby Green, but Bobby Green just got KO'd as well. Like he, this is not, I think, the right time. Like the guys, I love Bobby Green, bro, but he's 29-14. He just ends up losing some of these fights. And you got the guy who's 10-0 or 11-0 in decisions against him. And now, obviously, he looked really good in the last fight, but he was just throwing way too much. Like he was throwing like he was really quick, and I guess people saw a lot of the shots that he was uncorking on Drew Dober, and they're like, "Oh, well, Jared Gordon, he's not that quick. All those shots are gonna hit him in the face, and they fucking might hit him in the face." But this guy is a soft hitter, bro. And if that heroin from New York couldn't put Jared Gordon away, I mean, I'm not sure that fucking Bobby Green is gonna be able to put him away with his little ass, straight shots and straight punches. And Jared Gordon, if he puts him on the ground, man, Jared Gordon is tenacious, bro. His cardio is really good. And I could just see Bobby Green like just bitching about Jared Gordon being on top of him and throwing little shots at him and punch. But I could just see it being a close fucking fight. And I get one guy at 30% who didn't get knocked out in his last fight, has only gotten knocked, hit hard by like the top of the division. And Bobby Green, man, he's older, like 310 or 280, whatever it is on Bobby Green. He's 36, just come off his, knockout loss is insane. So I'll take Jared Gordon.
Yeah, I largely agree. I mean, I do think that uh thinking about the matchup itself, I do see Bobby Green's like hand speed and boxing probably winning him this fight, but it's gonna have to win him this fight at a margin of near 75% to cover his price. And I just think that it's not gonna be that wide. I mean, I think Green, the maximum you could go, I think, is minus 200. Anything past that is just getting
And Martian, why did he get knocked out by Drew Dober, dude? Because he couldn't circle away from Drew Dober. What size was the cage? It was an Apex. It was a small cage. If he's against Nazar, when he's against Nasrat Hakpras, he's circling away from him easily every time he's hitting him with punches. But now you're in the small cage, and you see Jared Gordon, he could force the clinch whenever he wants it.
Yeah, that's his
So
way to win is I don't think he's gonna obviously get caught with a big punch like Drew Dober did because Gordon just doesn't hit that hard. But I mean, he's gonna hold his own in the boxing. That check left hook is.
Jared's a dog, dude. He's a
But I
dog.
just think that I mean Clay
He's
Clay
fought a lot of different
Guida Clay
guys.
Guida was just able to fight Bobby Green and attempt a bunch of takedowns and keep him against the cage for a really long time. And I mean Gordon's wrestling really actually is pretty good. And when he gets on top, he lands a lot of ground and pound. And I just think that you know pinning him against the cage, taking him down, grinding him out, staying competitive everywhere. I think Gordon will look good as an over 2-to-1 dog. Small bet on him is warranted. This one definitely should go the distance. Gordon by decision plus 370, probably a good bet.
Dude, Jared Gordon's a great bet. Anyone that tells you otherwise, I just don't see how you could come to that conclusion. When you take account price, I just don't see how you could come to wanting to bet. That's just crazy.
Yeah. All right, co-main event time. Brad Tavares taking on Bruno Silva in the premier division of the UFC middleweight division. Tavares minus 158 favorite. Bruno Silva plus 138 dog. Uh, I'm just never been super impressed by Bruno Silva. I've always maintained the same opinion about him is that his ground and pound is ferocious. We've seen him get on top of guys, throw hammers, he knocks them out. But his defensive grappling, his striking, his cardio, everything about like the finer aspects of his technique, I think are really bad. But the guy's, just incredibly athletic. But I think Brad Tavares has really had a career out of kind of being not a great athlete himself at middleweight, but being really technically sound. So these guys are kind of almost opposites of each other. Where I think Tavares has, the much better striking skill, should be able to leg kick, jab his way to success on the feet. And then if Silva tries to attempt takedowns, I think Brad Tavares' takedown defense is some of the best, we've ever seen at these upper weight classes. And he just had a really good win over over Omari Akhmedov. Bruno Silva, really bad loss in his last fight to GM3. Took a lot of damage versus Alex Pereira too, and I just never been impressed by Silva. So I think this line is accurate, maybe even a little short on Tavares. Tavares is a guy who wins by decision. I don't see him finishing Silva here, so the margins could be a little thin, but I think Tavares should win this one by decision fairly comfortably.
Yeah, I don't love this spot. I think this fight over why did Tavares have to not fight RoboCop? He pulled out of that fight. Why? Don't know. He looked terrible in the Dricus fight. The last two rounds, he was horrible. And that's the thing, Martian. People talk shit about Dricus. A lot of shit. He beat the shit out of Brett Tavares. If you out
He lost
that
round one.
dumbass takedown, if you take out that dumbass takedown that he tried in round one, he beat Brad Tavares for the remainder of the fight. Every other second of the fight, he beat him. The Omari fight, it was it was they graded that as a decision, but I don't think it was. I don't. It was whatever. But he hasn't looked good either. So I understand why people are betting the Bruno side because Brad just looks slow, dude. His reaction time in the Dricus fight looked horrible. Like I said, the only good thing that happened in that whole fight for Brad was when Dricus pulled him on top of him when he was trying to take down. It's not that Brad did anything positively. So like I've never really been a fan of Brad Tavares because he's just like a guy like you said, he'll jab, he'll leg kick, he'll defend takedowns, and then he'll hope to win. And I just don't really like that. I don't really think that, like you said, the margin. Like I'm not really interested in betting that at a juice price. I consider the over, but I think that I might end up on that or the goes the distance, just and hope that Brad could take more punches like he did from Dricus. But I think it would be Bruno or a pass for me.
Yeah, I agree with most of that. Brad decision almost 2-to-1 though, I think is the bet that sticks out as the best value bet on the fight for me. Because Brad's tough, man. I mean, I just don't see Bruno knocking him out. I really don't.
Goes
Um,
distance. Let's go.
so that'll take us to the main event, which is probably the number one contender fight. Although who the fuck knows what that means? I mean, they apparently Stipe Miocic has been granted a fight against John Jones. I don't know why. I guess out of respect. But um, these two guys are probably the two best actual heavyweights in the UFC right now. So good fight here.
Relax, Jesus,
Curtis
relax.
Curtis Blades, Sergey Pavlovich. And the line for this one is Blades -173, Sergey +148. Your turn to start it off. Let's hear the main event thoughts.
Yeah, so heavyweight fight, you got these big boys in the apex. Both these guys like like 6'3", 6'4", so big guys. The interesting thing here obviously is, how likely is it to touch the ground with Blades going for the takedowns. You know, I will hope that that would be highly likely, and I think it will be. And I will be picking Curtis Blades here. He does have a diverse attack, right? He's been working in the leg kicks, but maybe he doesn't want to do that too much early here because Pavlovich, man, this guy's got absolute lunch boxes for fists. He throws them, in pretty good succession. Like some of his combos, I like seeing them. I love it when guys are throwing shots like a two-punch combo or like a jab cross or hook cross, and then they throw in that jab there at the end to either set up an even longer combination or to really punctuate it with a nice long punch. And for him, he's got a crazy long reach and huge fist that it's like a knockout punch for him or like a legitimate threat. So that's looked really good to me, but this guy doesn't throw any kicks. I haven't seen him too much with the grappling. I do think he could grapple a little bit, but I just if he's like Curtis Bates is like grabbing onto his legs, like I don't know how good his balance is, like you know what I mean, like stuff like that. It's not that I think that he doesn't know anything, but it's just when he's got Sergey or he's got Curtis push them around, how likely is he to stay on his feet? But the thing with Curtis is he's a little flaky sometimes. Like I could definitely even see like just a weird thing happen to him. Like he's like grabbing onto his leg. I always have like I think I've lost a bunch of times when one of my guys has been going for a takedown and he starts getting like elbowed or fucking hammer fisted or punched and then he just goes unconscious. That scarred me. So I'm always scared that like Curtis is gonna have him in the takedown and then this guy just uncorks like a few shots and knocks him the fuck out. Um, it's happened to him before when he went against Francis. So we'll see, but I'll pick Curtis, but I'm not that confident in it. Um, he needs to take this guy down though, because I feel like if he's not taking him down, like that cage is too small. Like he's gonna get found with punches, and I don't think he's got a very good chin.
So, if you guys know the podcast, I want you to think to yourselves right now, who do you think that I'm gonna pick in this fight? I want you to think, and I want you to say it, and I'll confirm. It is Curtis Blades. And it's just the fact of being more proven, right? Like the Blades is the best wrestler in the heavyweight division. And the only time we've seen Sergey face a takedown, we saw him get taken down by Overeem, get stuck on his back, get pounded out, get knocked out unconscious viciously by Alistair Overeem. Now, I know that was a long time ago, and he has ran through five guys since then, but he just had the most ideal circumstances possible. He had five guys who weren't grapplers, who would just stand and strike with them, and he destroyed all those guys. I mean, he looks like an absolute force when he pins you against the cage and unloads his combinations. And if he manages to do that against Blades, he probably will corner him, uncork a combination, and hurt and finish Blades. But I just don't see Blades getting caught like that. He knows the threat. He knows that he's extremely dangerous on the feet, and I think Blades is going to be shooting real early here, and I think he's going to get it. I mean, there's no footage, there's no reason to suggest that Pavlovich is capable of stopping these takedowns. So it's just a litmus test of Curtis's intelligence. How urgently will he shoot? If he has any sense at all, he will get on that takedown right away. If he doesn't, this small cage could be a recipe for disaster. He's got bad luck in the small cage, right? He got destroyed by Lewis in the small cage. And then his past few fights were all in the big cage. So that's something to note. He did beat Volkov in the small cage, though. So um, even if Pavlovich is able to survive one takedown, he say he gets up. I mean, we've seen Blades drag Volkov down to the mat, 15 times if he needs to. So, the the wrestling experience, the experience at this high level weight of the weight class, the 5 round experience, it's all in favor of Curtis Blades, and I think that's more than enough to pick him here at this price. Don't think the price is like a gift or anything like that. I don't think like it's an easy like slam on Curtis Blades, but I think he is the easier bet to make here. So I would say favorite or pass in that one, and that'll do it. Rare time where we get out of here in under an hour. Ozzy doesn't have any closing thoughts. I'm not even gonna bother asking. We'll be back at the next week for a really good main event again. Song Yadong versus Ricky Simone. That'll be a really good card, and we'll see you all then. Thank you all for listening. Hope you all enjoyed the fights this weekend. Win some bets, and we'll see you all before the next UFC event. Peace out, everyone.